Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. Thank you everyone that submitted questions for this week's Game of Thrones Q&A. Mostly questions about what's going on with Sansa and Ramsay, but there were like a couple really big ones that everyone had, so I'll just start with those. Careful for spoilers if you haven't seen the episode yet. So starting with Littlefinger and Ramsay, a lot of people were wondering whether or not Littlefinger was lying when he said he didn't know anything about him. Littlefinger is the master of lies, so I think he has an idea of what's going on with Ramsay. I think he's heard things. He might not know the whole story, but he probably understands that he is very dangerous. So I think that moment when he said, "I haven't heard anything about you," was completely disingenuous. He was just throwing a smokescreen at Ramsay, and Ramsay himself was also lying through his teeth when he said he would take great care of Sansa. No surprise that everybody's lying. So here we go, next question. Sam's Finch asks, so if Sansa and Ramsay are getting married, there will have to be a wedding, right? Yeah, I mean, it would be very mean of the show to tease us with a wedding and then not actually show it. So I think there will be some sort of ceremony. Because Tommen and Marjorie's wedding seems so normal, I think we can expect the crazy wedding this season to be Sansa Ramsay. There were actually a bunch of other questions that went into specific details about this, so we'll just parse through Sansa Ramsay as we go through the Q&A. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is actually going to be one of the most interesting storylines, despite being vastly different from the books. Next question, Chaffee asks, am I the only one that kind of sees Littlefinger as a Snape-type character? Not that Littlefinger will ever redeem himself. Wow, you don't sound very hopeful about Littlefinger. It does seem like he has the best of intentions with respect to Sansa, but he does have some other grand goal that she's only a part of. I've also seen a lot of questions as to whether or not Littlefinger really wants to sit on the Iron Throne. It's clear that he wants to get rid of the Lannisters. He wants to depose the current rulers. But I think what he really wants is just the power. He doesn't want the actual throne itself. If he ends up being successful, he won't care who sits on the Iron Throne as long as he is the new Tywin Lannister. It's kind of like what's going on with Varys' character. He wants to restore another ruler to the throne. He doesn't necessarily want to sit on it himself. Although of the two, I would say Varys is much more altruistic, although we really don't know the full extent of what his intentions are. All we know is that he wants Daenerys on the throne. We don't know what he's going to do after that, if he's successful. I think if Littlefinger had his way, he would probably put Sansa on the throne, just because he knows that he has a relationship with her. She'll at least listen to him, whether or not she actually trusts him. Next question, Shino Bakage asks, why can't the Boltons just arrest Littlefinger and Sansa, hold them hostage, and force the North to obey? Well, I think the problem is that Roose wants to keep the North, and if he wants them to like him, he has to be able to work with them. He can't replace all the people that live in the North. If he were to imprison or kill Sansa, they would immediately turn on him. The only reassurance of control that he had before came from Tywin Lannister. Tywin Lannister controlled all the money, all the troops. Now that he's gone, Roose does not have that guarantee anymore, so he needs to find another source of support. That's the opportunity Littlefinger used to form an alliance with him. Next question, Carolyn asks, when Ramsay was talking to Littlefinger, he said, "I'll never hurt her," but we know he can be a liar. Do you think that he will hurt her? Or maybe his partner in crime will hurt her in some way? So what I think is going to happen is Miranda will probably take some shots at her. I think they want you to think that Ramsay is going to do something terrible to Sansa. This might be one of those situations where they'll bait and switch you, where it's Ramsay's terrible. Clearly he's going to turn Sansa into his new reek. Cut to shocking twist in Game of Thrones fashion. As for what that twist could be, it could be anything. What I'd really like to see is Sansa cut Ramsay's sausage off, on their wedding night. Some crazy WTF moment like that. If certain events on the show seem like they're building towards similar moments that we've seen before, it's on purpose. We're building towards another Red Wedding type moment. We're building towards another Reek type moment. So the twist would be that, some torture is visited upon Ramsay himself. That's just speculation though. I feel like that would be a fun way to close Ramsay's storyline if he ended up losing his sausage. Next question, Ruben asks, do you think that Arya will stop training with the Faceless Men because she can't kill those she wants and she can't let go of her past? So I think this is getting into Meryn Trant, Mace Tyrell territory. Meryn Trant is on her list and he is escorting Mace Tyrell to Braavos. So what I'm hoping is they bump into each other. He doesn't recognize her, but she recognizes him and tries to get revenge for what happened to Syrio Forel. It's possible that she could have to choose between killing Meryn Trant and doing something else that Jaqen asks her to do. Next question, Mario asks, are you excited or nervous to see how the show has changed Sansa, Jaime, and Brienne's storylines from the books? Yes, there's some really interesting things that they could give them. I think what's going to happen is they'll graft storylines from other characters onto their characters. A good example of that is, I'm hoping they turn Brienne into the Ghost of Winterfell, that storyline from the books. I spent a lot of my videos, leading up to the season talking about Dark Sansa, so I'm hoping thematically she gets some of the revenge story arc that they gave to Lady Stoneheart, even though she's turning into more of like a plotter, schemer, Littlefinger type character than an outright stabby character. Jaime is still a bit of a question mark, and we haven't seen a lot of his character yet, so I'm going to hold off on speculation for him until we get down to Dorne. Next question, Dog Lover asks, what do you think Littlefinger's endgame is now? Do you think the writers have changed it since he's giving up the key to the north to Roose and seems to be forming an alliance instead of going for chaos? Well, I think that his storyline is still very similar in that he's trying to bring down the monarchy. It's really hard to tell where George R. Martin is going in the books. It's loosely implied that Littlefinger just wants to bring everything crumbling down. Because there's so many different plots from so many different characters trying to put someone else on the Iron Throne, what I'm hoping is the really big players that survive all start to form new alliances with the other big ones. So they start to winnow things down to like 2 big teams. Littlefinger, if he's not successful in his plot to unite the North and the Vale, he might just try to form an alliance with Dorne or with Daenerys. I'll be interested to see, though, if they do decide to go the Gatsby route with his character, where it's like, you get to the final season, book 7, whatever, and he's like, I did this all for you, Catelyn, while he's staring at Sansa, just completely out of his mind. Next question, though, Narwa asks, since Jorah kidnapped Tyrion, what is Lord Varys' role in the Targaryen restoration? Will he travel to Meereen? Yeah, I mean, he'll probably still make his way there. What I'm hoping is that he introduces us to the group that's behind the Targaryen restoration. As far as we know, Daenerys and her inner circle have their own plan to retake Westeros at some point, and they're not associated with the official Targaryen restoration. That's like a secret plot built by a group of people that we haven't met yet. Or maybe we have met them. Maybe that's part of what the Martell storyline is going to be. But yes, eventually I do think that Varys will make his way to Meereen. Next question, Pam asks, what do you make of the look the Red Priestess in Volantis gave to Tyrion? Well, actually, I had a funny thought, hey, I've read books 6 and 7, I know what happens to you. And she was laughing at him inside, quietly judging him just because she knew how different things were going to be from the show and the books. Really though, it was just the same type of look that Melisandre gives to Jon Snow. She just senses great destiny in him. The visions that the Red Priest can conjure in the flames can be interpreted a lot of different ways. So she might not know exactly who he is, only that he is a very important person for what's to come. The war between the Great Other and the forces of the Red God. Because we're getting to see a lot more in the East, hopefully in future seasons, we'll actually get a deeper dive into the mythology of the Red God. It would be pretty cool to see the inside of one of the Red Temples. And if you didn't recognize her, I said something on Twitter, but I didn't include it in my episode 3 video. That's actually Rila Fukushima from Arrow. She plays Katana on Arrow. She was also Yukio in the Wolverine standalone film. Next question, Ivan Wu asks, is Pycelle going to have a huge part in the future storyline? Cersei doesn't seem to like him anymore. I never read the books, but I have a feeling he's going to betray Cersei. I definitely think you're onto something. He made that comment where he said, a man's private life should remain private. As we saw, the Sparrows are going around indicting everyone they can, just, grabbing people they think are doing immoral things, getting rid of the booze. Pycelle probably has some pervy secrets he doesn't want to get out that they will find out about, and he'll also be thrown to the wolves. So what happens is when everyone starts getting accused of things, they start turning on each other. So I definitely think that Pycelle will do something to try and save himself. Whether or not it's informing on Cersei remains to be seen. But remember, Cersei, when she was talking to Jaime, has been throwing caution to the wind about the way she talks about their twincest and their children. Please, if you have read the books, just use spoiler tags, because I do think they're going to be doing a lot of Cersei's storyline from book 4. Don't be surprised if there are scenes from last season that are mirrored in scenes this season. It just feels like a very TV type thing for them to do, where it's oh, the same thing's happening, only now it's happening to someone else. That goes for all the characters though, not just the characters in King's Landing. Thank you everyone for submitting questions though. These are always a ton of fun to do. Dinner, I think we're really looking forward to what happens between Sansa and Ramsay. It's a big question mark because it's not in the books, but they could weave some really fun stuff from Winterfell in the books. So I think barring the Hardhome storyline and what's going on in King's Landing, that'll be the most interesting place. Congratulations to this week's giveaway winner, Liam Duggan. You win an HBO Now subscription. Be sure to DM me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact info. And because the book giveaway winners still haven't contacted me, what I'm going to do is when we get to episode 5, the books will just be part of that giveaway. So if you won the books, you have 2 more weeks to DM me. If you're confused as to whether or not you won the books, it's in my episode 1 Q&A video. Thank you again everyone that's been submitting fan subs. You guys have been a huge help. While you guys wait for next week's bonus video, I'm still kind of up in the air about as to what it's going to be. Probably something Martell related. You guys can click here for my episode 3 video, and you can click here to learn all about the history of Winterfell. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I'll see you guys tonight. High fives.